Welcome back.
We are back. Who's calling your phone?
I'm dead.
I'm weak. I am weak. Oh my goodness. Welcome to another episode of Cultivating Conversations with DP Squared.
I can't say too much about the we not missing no Tuesdays 2025. I can't say
I
it too much
know, I know. For good reason. Trust
for good
and
reason.
believe.
Yes. Yes.
But thank you all for joining us yet for another podcast week. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're right here. And we appreciate that. We
100%.
appreciate everybody who tunes in live, everyone who's going to tune in after the fact, however you want to view us. We appreciate it. Of course, we love our live people because we want the interaction and the questions and the answers and all that. But we appreciate and love everybody regardless. But real quick, well, first of all, happy April, happy new month.
Yes.
All that. How you been doing?
I've been good, man. April Fool's Day today. Didn't get no jokes off, but I feel good. Nice little 2-week hiatus.
Hey, y'all, we are definitely back.
Yeah, I think it's a refresher. Ready to get back in gear. Step on that gas pedal. April's going to be a great month. I can feel it. So just hoping for the best. Hoping for the best. What about you? That was about you.
Let's see. I think March was a pretty good month. Like if I have to think back just for the past month, I think it was really good. I'm feeling good today. I'm in high spirits of what could potentially happen this month, like you were saying. So I'm just trying to be less like trying to not overthink as much and just let things flow. So I'm excited.
Yeah. People in the chat drop y'all. How was y'all March, man? Give us,
how did March treat y'all?
Or a number or something. March treated me well though. I'm feeling good.
That's good. That is great. Oh my goodness. So I know based on the title, the question was, does sexuality shape the way we see the world? Now, we know, or I know we both know, this could be a touchy subject.
Yes, very true.
Talking about things that could be a little uncomfortable, but as y'all should know by now, DeAndre and I, we are open and already ready to have the tough conversations. That's just our thing. But before, I wanted to have a little disclaimer.
Okay. Drop it on them.
Oh yeah. DeAndre says he wants me to copy and paste this in the chat.
Oh yeah, true. Yes.
Hold on.
Too.
Drop this in the chat. All right. So this is a judgment-free zone type of conversation.
Yes.
So we want everyone to give their opinion, but we will not tolerate any homophobic, queerphobic,
yes,
to the left comments. So if you got that, keep it to yourself. But we want to have different opinions, but keep it cute.
Yeah, I definitely want to hear different opinions. I think the number of topics that we have will offer, a lot of opinions to, hear people's perspectives. But I think that can still be said in a respectful way. That's all.
For sure. Glad to hear. Someone's March was great. Mother and Keon said 6 out of 10. Hopefully April will be a 7, 8, or 9, or 10 out of 10.
Exactly.
So keep us updated. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say before we started.
Definitely.
Okay, cool. So I guess we haven't been here in a while, so let's just hop right into it.
Okay, let's hop right into it.
All righty. So first I wanted to bring up the definition because I feel like people use the word sexuality, but people don't really know what it is.
Yeah. Drop some definitions on these people.
Yeah, okay. So this is not from Deja Dictionary today, so y'all don't got to judge me. This is from I found this on the internet. But it was saying that it's the way we experience and express ourselves sexually. It involves feelings, desires, action, your identity, and can include many different types of physical touch, stimulation, whatever. So it's like the way people identify with their desires, etc.
Right. And from the DeAndre Dictionary, I want to add in a little bit on this too. I want to say kind of what you said that people don't really understand. I believe that like the process and experiences that cultivate your sexuality is not just as straightforward, like kind of how you said, it's not as black and white. And it's like as you grow with your mindset, so does your sexuality. That doesn't mean that, someone who's bisexual for a whole bunch of years will just turn straight, even though that could be the case in many things. But it's just, if you do choose to be one sexuality your whole life, you develop your, like you say, your emotion, desires, the things you find that you enjoy. It just changes. I think people believe that if you're developing sexuality, that means that you have to change from one to another. And that's not the case,
Yeah.
It's just about experience, learning, growth, etc.
Yeah. And I know that this has changed like over the years, and we've only been on this earth for not that long. So we might not necessarily know how it was back then and all that. But I know now it's talked about more in a spectrum sense instead of it just being someone's either gay or they're straight. It's like people think it's more fluid than that. It's more, it could be, a lot of people refer to, of course, like the LGBTQ plus is like all the letters and stuff now. But I wanted to ask you though, because in this new age, there's a lot more representation, whether it's on TV, movies, books, etc. But do you feel that these different sexualities are being forced upon us? Like, are they forcing it too much? Do you think it's like about time there's more representation? Like, what are your thoughts on that one?
Okay, so some people drop their responses in the chat before I go, but to answer your question, I don't think that. Okay, two things on this. Okay, I think people see sexualities as different than being straight. Okay, straight is a sexuality. Being straight, heterosexual is a sexuality. Yes, that's true.
Yes.
But outside of heterosexuality, people see sexualities as being different, as being like separate from heterosexuality. And I think that's where the problem comes with people are saying forced. That these people who are part of other sexualities or other identities have existed forever.
Yes.
In many instances, in many timelines, many media entertainments, you just may not have known. So those people that are being quote unquote forced onto us have always been there. I just think that they're being represented now.
Yeah.
Now, I do also believe that this is with anything, and I don't think that this is particularly have to do with the LGBTQ plus community. This could be with race. This could be with disability. This could be with anything. That some people don't feel like people are, they should have played this role and they only got the role for certain reasons. Like people spew the DEI stuff on stuff like that. I don't know. Do you feel that way about it?
What do you mean? Like this person only got this role because they are gay or something?
Yes. Or that the role shouldn't have done that way. It could have been done in any way. What do you think?
But give me an example.
Like someone gets a role. In the role, some people will be like, well, that person didn't have to be transgender, or that in the role, that person didn't have to be bisexual in that role. It was just kind of put there just for the sake of,
Yeah. I feel like I have two thoughts on this. My first would be, no, I don't agree with that. I think that it's just trying to show the world on TV how it is realistically. That's my first thought.
I agree.
Like when you walk down the street, you're not going to see a whole bunch of white people, not going to see a whole bunch of black. I mean, depending on your neighborhood, of course, but I'm saying like it should represent what we actually see. And you're going to see a wide variety of people, sexualities, whatever. Now, sometimes, like, let's just say it was let's say they wanted to reboot Martin and they made Pam gay. It's like, y'all ain't have to do that. Like, those are the type of like instances where I'm like, is that necessary? Like, not in the sense of I don't like it. It's just more.
I understand.
Sometimes I think they want to write it in when there's not. It doesn't necessarily have to be there. But if it feels natural and it feels like it's something that was genuine, I literally do not care. I watched all type of shows and all type of movies with all kinds of like sexuality. So, but when they want to like I think they'll like make something. Sometimes it just feels a little too like they're trying to check a box. Like, okay, let's think. We gotta have this. We gotta have that. We gotta have that. Like that's when I'm just thinking, okay.
Yeah, I can agree. I can agree to that as well. I think that especially when it comes to media and things of that nature, I think people just want to, like you said, show different identities so that life is not just one way. That you don't have to be the ideal of what heterosexuality thinks of other sexualities. You don't have to live within the mind of a heterosexual person. You can be who you want to be. You don't have to be, whitewashed by media. People can just express themselves in a number of ways, but I also agree that sometimes, like you said, it can be force fed sometimes and written in when it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
I don't see that serves necessarily as a problem,
right?
That it does a disservice to the people whose identities reflect that, and that they aren't actually writing to appreciate the person, appreciate that identity, but like you said, just to check a box. So in that way, I see some issues sometimes.
I agree. It's about time. Who are we to judge any human? I agree with that. I agree. I know that probably for as long as we can remember, religion plays a big role in just the unacceptance of like other relationships that aren't just like man and woman, and and that's a whole rabbit hole in
It
itself.
really is, though.
Like for real, but I guess what am I trying to say? How can people exist in a society where I have my beliefs, you have your beliefs, but I don't necessarily I have to make sure that I don't force what I believe on you. Does that make sense? So say if I'm like, I'm just saying, say I'm like a super church goer, very religious, and and that is okay. Like if someone truly believes like a relationship should just be a man and a woman, and you get married, whatever, like that's something someone believes. How can we exist in a society where someone can be okay with believing that? Because I don't want people to feel bad for believing that, but also be okay with introducing people in their community who wouldn't necessarily believe that same thing.
That's neat. Yes. Like, I hear that. I understand that completely. Okay. I don't want to say that it's impossible because I don't believe that it is, but also I think that there's two ways you can go about it. I think it's very challenging, like you're saying, for a person to believe something like that, to accept that other lifestyle. I think that's a very huge challenge, but I believe my problem with the people who don't accept that lifestyle is the fact that they're spewing hate. They only enact those religious reasons to spew hate. And in any other instance in life, even if they are super heavily religious, they won't use their religion they only use their religion to degrade somebody. So not to uplift someone. So it's like, in your instance, how do we create a community to acknowledge both? I think it starts with respect. One, I think that people only focus on certain scriptures or some certain things that will help their opinion. They're not looking at the entirety of religion or the entirety of the Bible or whatever you support, and that they don't respect everything else, but they only acknowledge certain things. So you have to, I think people have to humanize others. That people who are or choose to do the things that they do are not doing it to denounce religion or not doing it to ridicule this something that you believe, but they're doing it because that is something that they want to do at the end of the day.
Right. No, I agree with that for sure. I definitely have had conversations with friends, like arguing them down on
Seriously.
that, who are super religious.
What are some of the things that they say?
They'll quote scriptures. And I don't want to make this believe me, there's greatness that happens within the church and within religion. Like there's so much powerful things. So I don't want this to be the church does this, because that is not how I feel. But I do think that sometimes people rely too much on just reciting scriptures to defend these arguments. But that's a whole,
Yeah, it's a tough topic because
it is tough.
It's a tough topic because a lot of people come from their environment, their friends, their family, the people that they've grown up with, the way that they were raised. That's all they understand. That's all they know, especially people in these rural communities or suburban communities, not around a lot of people. You see someone that looks like you, believe the same things as you, constantly. So I see why it is hard to try to, believe or go against what you were raised about. But I think at the end of the day, it's about humanizing other people. You can't call yourself, someone with morals, someone with norms, someone who genuinely respects others if you cannot accept others for who they are. I think that's where the barrier really stems from when it comes from religion and sexuality. It's like the way that it shapes our work currently, and we'll get into that later with the politics or just how society is currently acting, is all socially constructed. We as the people have the opportunity to accept others for who they are, because when same-sex marriage was just enacted, everybody was for that, and then now it's people are looking to get that revoked. So it's like we as society have the choice, and I think people have to realize.
I agree with that. And when you were talking about how people are raised and stuff, that leads me into the next thing where, okay, I want to talk a little bit about maybe our own comfortability when it comes to our sexuality. Now, I definitely think in society, it's okay for women to explore that more. Like they can, not every woman, because Some women, you just grow up where it's very strict. But I think in general, women have more of the opportunity to kind of explore that, where with men, it's more, you're more shamed for it in most cases. So I can go first, but I will say that I don't feel like I've, not the house phone. I don't, let's take a moment of silence.
I'm dead.
She's done. Okay. So
not the house phone. Somebody need to get that for pulled.
Child, that anyway. What was I saying? Oh, I never felt that I had to be someone who liked men. Like it was never forced upon me. But I also feel like it wasn't like people were saying like, hey, you don't have to like men. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? So it wasn't like no one.
Is that really true? Due to the fact of when you were growing up, someone who was gay, bisexual, lesbian, whatever the case may be, they were. I'll speak from my opinion, but I want to ask you, like, were they truly accepted by everyone?
No.
That's what I'm saying. So pressures like that, did that not make you feel like you needed to be straight?
Well, okay, I will agree with that. I guess my first thing was I was thinking like within the household, but yes, if I'm thinking about being at school or just regular interactions, or when you're talking to your friends, it's just like, how can we talk to boys? Like it was never. I didn't have friends who actually like girls or guys who like guys. Like we had, of course, people in our school who you were like, yeah, this person probably will eventually like the same sex or whatever, but it was never like. It was never okay for those people to be completely who they were.
Yeah.
So I do agree with that. I guess I was thinking more so how we were raised, or because I know we get a lot of external influences, and we talk about that a lot. But I wanted to talk more like how did you feel growing up, like I guess growing up as a heterosexual boy or whatever, because I know it's different for guys, and I'm not putting that on you that like you wanted to explore.
No, I understand what you're trying to say. Yeah, definitely. Two things. I never really had the feeling to want to explore my sexuality. That's just the honest truth. But I do believe in the same time that the effects like growing up, if it was religion, if it was my friends, if it just was my at the table with the guys or whatever, it influenced me to my experiences, my emotions, my feelings experienced me to sexuality that I am today. And growing up, I didn't really feel necessarily any pressure like you're seeing, like forced directly. Like I had no choice. But I definitely do believe that the society that we grew up in at the time was not very accepting of LGBTQ plus individuals. I can count many times how many my friends, and even maybe I am like I took part in this of not being the most accepting or not saying the most positive things, not saying I was being homophobic or queerphobic, but not just saying that wasn't something that I was
like you weren't like a champion for, like it wasn't like
I'm not saying that. Like I always accepted anyone that I was around, but personally for me, that's not something that I wanted to explore, and that's just how it was. And that's not, I was never negative to anyone who was queer or who was a part of the LGBTQ plus community, because that was never my personality. Like if you know me, always accepting whatever. I don't got to attest to my own personality, but I'm just saying personally that is not something that I had any thoughts about. So growing up, I didn't feel forced, but I also felt pressure as well. I felt pressure, you know what I'm trying to say? Not pressure to say that I didn't want to be not pressure to say like, oh, I can never be homosexual, but also pressure in the same breath of like, that's not something that I would even cross the line to do. You know what I'm trying to say? That was just the environment I was in. Like, that was just not a thing that was just like positively spoken about.
Right. Yeah, I get that. And I guess that's why it's interesting when people talk about like you can do certain things in your household all day, but when people go outside, I think that'd be the real test. Like you can grow up in a household where they're like, I'm cool with that, or where they say I'm not cool with that. But it's really where you spend most of your time. And you spend so much time outside at school. I don't know about the kids now. They might stay in the house all day. I don't know. But you are heavily influenced by the people that are around you. And a lot of times that's not even your parents or
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean? So how do you feel like, do you think that would just change over time? Or do you feel like that's going to always just be the case? Like someone just going to have to always be courageous enough to be themselves? Or do you think more people are growing up in environments where it's just like a normal thing
Yeah, I definitely
as
think
a child
people are
or
growing in more
a
environments that
teenager?
it's a normal thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely still think it's something that people have to be courageous about
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of times you're being constantly ridiculed for something that your identity, something that you believe in, and
Mm-hmm.
it's very hard to overcome those circumstances. So I think regardless of any environment that people are in, I think they are still being outliers.
Yeah.
LGBTQ plus communities are still outliers in a lot of situations that they are put in. If it's within their family, they're
Mm-hmm.
definitely outnumbered. If it's in school, they're definitely outnumbered. So
Mm-hmm.
it's an opportunity for people to still be courageous. But I think over time, especially since I was come from elementary school to college, it has
Yes.
definitely transformed completely in terms of acceptance, in terms of expression, in terms of
Mm-hmm.
identity. So I think it's both.
Yeah.
But I know we're gonna step into a little political stuff with the effects of the Trump administration. I definitely don't know how the trajectory of sexuality and where it is going.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, because something that I want to point out was just kind of like the dehumanization of people, especially like in the idea of this is just something briefly. I
Mm-hmm.
was watching the presidential address, and Trump had brought up
The
he
State
brought
of the
some people
Union thing?
State of
Or
the Union, yes,
okay.
the address, and he brought some people there who kind of overcame things in his mind. So
Mm-hmm.
someone was there. It was a young lady who I don't remember her name or nothing, but it was a transgender woman who was in her sport, in a woman's sport, but it was a transgender woman,
Mm-hmm.
a man to a woman.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, Trump was saying how the transgender woman came in the sport and took over and
That,
destroyed the sport. So I
mm,
think it's just a whole thing that's now going to be coming of dehumanization and dividing and conquering and using one
mm-hmm.
person to
Mm-hmm.
generalize an entire community of people, which is not
Yeah.
good.
And to be clear, like that, especially if we want to talk specifically transgender, like that, they're like the smallest population
Mm,
within so it's really funny how that was one of the main points of like his
yeah,
campaign when that's such a small group of people, you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
it's like they're taking over and it's like it's literally not that many. So it
yeah,
just is when you talk about population purpose, like wise.
yeah.
But yeah, I know we wanted to dive into, as we always say, this is not a political podcast, but it's like we always
Yeah.
got to talk
But
about
I
some
mean,
politics.
it's affecting a lot of lives, which is
Yeah,
something
yeah.
to talk about. And the two sexes order, only
Mhm,
two genders or two sexes, male and female. It's
mhm,
like stuff like that just denounces people, and you got to learn the history because this has happened many times before with this kind of denouncing of people or dehumanization. Back in McCarthyism, that was back in the '60s.
Lord.
Gay and lesbian people were not allowed to work in the federal government due to the fact that
Wow.
the government said that they were poisoning their employees and poisoning the workforce. So it's like these things are repetitive. They just
Mhm.
continue to happen just in different instances.
Yeah. No, I agree. That's crazy you said that because I think sometimes people forget like when something doesn't affect you
Yeah,
specifically, you don't even know that it took place. But I'm sure that the
exactly.
people who are within that community, like, here we go again. Here's another thing. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
they similar with other communities that when they continue to get attacked, it's like one thing after another. But if you don't
that's a fact.
experience that, you literally never knew it even happened the first
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
Because I know they talked about how a lot of the funding was taken away from
right.
different organizations that were supporting different like initiatives related to sexuality and stuff. I mean, a lot of initiatives really DI all that stuff, but
Yeah,
specifically those. How do you feel like that will impact? Like, what is the impact of something like that on?
I think the impact of something like that is definitely to ridicule a lot of people that have fought.
Like the allies and stuff
Yeah,
are being
like
impacted too.
who they want to be, who they have
Yeah.
become over. I think it just diminishes the experiences, the history, the culture of what LGBTQ plus community has become, or just
Mm-hmm.
sexuality in general, what it has become over the years. I think that the taking away initiatives, the signing the order of two genders or two sexes, and
Mm-hmm.
just the whole transgender thing with the bathroom stuff, the sports stuff, it's just alienating people at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's going back to the thing of making people feel different when these things are natural. It's making people feel like they're outliers in their own society, in their own homes, their own schools. So I don't see any positives from this. I definitely see a lot of negatives. And what about your perspective? What do you see?
Oh no, I agree with that. I don't think that I think it accomplishes what he wants to accomplish.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the idea of making people go back in their holes, or like not letting people shine, basically.
Yeah, like there's only one right way of living.
Right. And so when you take away the ways that people can shine, it kills your confidence. It kills your ability to like work other places. So then it goes back to people having only work a certain job instead of just being the openly like do what you want to do. Or it stifles people a lot, especially when we already know when it comes to DEI particularly, you need funding, like you need financial support for a lot of these different programs. So when it comes to like
sexuality, you're already marginalized at
the it just only can, it's not like, it's very rare where you can just kind of only self-fund yourself when it comes to those type of things. So it's just a way to cripple people, and it's not gonna erase the fact that people are going to be gay, or like you know what I'm saying, they might just not be out about it, but that's not going away. So I just think the less attention people put on it, I feel like we can move forward. People are paying attention way too much of what somebody decides to do in a bedroom. Like that ain't nothing to do with them.
That's very true. That's very. I think we'll get to that in the next point to kind of round this off. Is like choosing your sexuality. Like what's at stake, which is a super broad question, of course, but it's very important. And a lot of question has been going on for centuries. Probably, I learned this in school. Actually, is
wow, you learned this in school?
I learned about sexuality in school. I'm actually in the class right now.
Okay.
So yeah. Okay. But, are people born a certain way, or do they choose their sexuality, which has been a heavy one for a long time? And I'll try to answer first.
Okay.
First, I want to say that I do believe that people choose their sexuality. I think people saying that people are born this way, which is like the born away theory or born away rhetoric. It just kind of promotes the idea that something is wrong with somebody, that they were not born heterosexual, and that they were born something else. And also it washes away the experiences of what you create as time goes on. It doesn't give people the opportunity to hypothetically go from heterosexual to another sexuality, or vice versa. So it just kind of creates like somebody is still there. You're acknowledging that something is wrong with somebody, something is different with somebody, but they're still equal. So that is denouncing someone as being a person, denouncing somebody as being a human. So I think that the born this way rhetoric is pretty remedial. It's just like it's a way to accept somebody without really accepting who they truly are.
That's facts, man. And it's so true. You do I feel like I've rediscovered myself in life like every couple years. Not even when it comes to sexuality, but just life. So imagine if you're a person just trying to figure yourself out. And feeling like you have to stick to something that you were. I do think that some people have these feelings very early on, just with some people who like a woman, like in guys, they have that attraction early on. So I don't think it's something you have to figure out like when you're 20. I think you could be younger, and you know what I'm saying? But yeah. Because some people like to think that people don't already know what they like, but some people know what they like, and that's fine. You know what I'm saying?
Like both can be true. Both can be true at the same time.
Yeah, no, I agree with that for sure. I think I don't know why anybody would personally choose to be discriminated against. Like,
right.
I'm sure they really just want to be that type of person. I don't think that they would just want to be harmed or like, you know what I'm saying, attacked and stuff. That's true. Like that they don't want to turn back to anything else. That's who they are, and that's who they want to be, and it is what it is. So but no, I think this was like a good conversation though. I feel that I know that it's not the most interesting. I know it's not goat talk or anything, but I do feel that it was something that we want to talk about, especially when I had just saw yesterday. It was Transgender Day of Visibility or something like that. So I just feel like it was right on time, really. But
I definitely agree, because it's a conversation a lot of people don't like to have, especially because sexuality determines a lot of the, like we already talked about, experiences, emotions, desires, feelings that you have as a person. To disregard that it's happening, you know, right next to you or in your household is just to be
diabolical.
Yeah, it's to be ignorant to the fact that life is progressing how it is. So you gotta have these conversations, even if you aren't the most outward thinking person or you're not the most accepting person, you still have to be able to be open to have these conversations because people around you are really living their truth. So
facts. So that, I think that leads right into like the hashtag go cultivate, which I feel like I explain this every time. Y'all know what it is. So I just wanted to say, like, really try to have these conversations with your family and friends. Even if it gets ugly, I feel like it's healthy. The more that they are had, the less taboo it'll be at the end of the day. Like, really, just let it be. Like, when me and you have these conversations, I don't even feel weird. We just be like, we'll just talk about it. So I think the more you do that, the less anxious you might be about it. So, or if y'all don't have nobody to talk to me. I'll argue with you.
I'm dead.
So, yeah, but no, I appreciate everybody who tuned into the potty.
Good return episode.
Yes, we will be back next week. We will.
Definitely will.
So
good stuff, great stuff on the way.
Yes, be on the lookout for more guests and everything. And yeah, thank y'all again. And we will see y'all next week. Okay.
Thank y'all for joining. See y'all next Tuesday.